Yeah, we're just going. Good morning. Come on in. Stand if you'd like. We're going to sing For the Beauty of the Earth, number 21. For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies, source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of ear and eye, for the heart and mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, linking sense to sound and sight, source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the wonder of each hour, of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light, source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human care, sister, brother, parent, child, for the kinship we all share, for all gentle thoughts and mild, source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise.
I'm Karen Dorn-Steele, today's lay leader, and I welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane, with greetings also to our online visitors from around the United States and Canada. Whether you're in the sanctuary today or watching from afar, it's here that we join to create a nourishing religious home with a mission to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in the wider world, or as we say more concisely, to create community, find meaning, and work for justice. Now, please take a few minutes to greet one another. We now turn from our informal greetings to formally begin our service by lighting our chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, of our unity and solidarity, of our openness and inclusion, of our community and our individuality. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need. And may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt where it has been found. When I retired from a long career as a journalist, I looked for another way to serve the Spokane community. I found it in the Spokane Alliance. The Alliance and its sister organizations in the United States and abroad use the strategies of founder Saul Alinsky, who organized the working poor to fight for their rights. In his book, Rules for Radicals, Alinsky says, "It is necessary to begin where the world is to change to what we think it should be." That means working inside the system in a way that makes alliances and builds community. A young Barack Obama learned Alinsky's techniques when he was a community organizer in Chicago. Members of our churches have also learned them through Spokane Alliance training, and we've had many successes collectively. Energy retrofits in Spokane neighborhoods, apprenticeships in public sector jobs, medical vans for underserved people, and increased public funds for vital childcare services. Through our church's membership in the Spokane Alliance, I was deeply involved in a 2-year campaign to provide paid sick leave for 40,000 low-income workers in our city. When we started organizing in 2014, one of the city's most liberal council members, John Snyder, said Spokane would never pass Sick and Safely because it was a new mandate on private business. Anathema in a conservative town, he said. We proved him wrong. We changed the conversation, and John Snyder ultimately became an ally. We held large assemblies. We met with 39 local businesses. We talked to people who lacked paid sick leave in our own organizations. We convinced Spokane's health district to study the issue, and they concluded that presenteeism, or working sick, was bad public policy. We were lucky in November 2015 when Spokane voters chose a progressive council majority, which passed the sick leave ordinance by a 6-to-1 vote. Mayor David Condon immediately vetoed it, but the council overrode his veto 2 days later. Progressive policy, we've learned, always triggers pushback. And we faced it when Washington voters passed a statewide sick leave law in the November 2016 election. It was due to start a year later in January 2018, or 2 years later, with our local ordinance due to take effect a year earlier. The same business forces that had opposed sick leave now urge city leaders to cancel our local ordinance, meaning another year's delay. So we once again rallied. We packed the council chamber to insist that our ordinance be allowed to take effect. The council agreed. And as of January 1st, 2017, thousands of low-paid workers began eligibility for their first ever sick leave, a modest social safety net. Today, you're going to be hearing about the Spokane Alliance's current work from its new senior organizer, Laurel Fish, a Spokane native who returned here in 2020. Laurel, like me, is a Stanford graduate, and as a junior in college, she organized students to oppose the layoff of 70 janitors at the Stanford Hospital, a very wealthy institution. She has spent 8 years in the labor movement, working with hospitality workers in the San Francisco Bay Area, food processing workers in the Tri-Cities, and frontline health care workers in Spokane. Laurel is joined today by 3 other speakers: Alex Franz, a member of the Housing Equity Action Research Team and the West Central Abbey; Mary Rupert, a Westminster United Church of Christ member and a leader in the Truth and Transformation team that is seeking to build indigenous partnerships in our region; and also Sheldon Bennett from the jobs team of the Spokane Alliance, who is a member of the Carpenters Union, Local 59.
Please stand. Let's sing together Mother of All, number 91 in the hymnal. Mother of all, in every age, in every clime adored, by saint, by poet, and by sage, your praises high have soared. Goddess of nurture and of love, all nature sings your care. In life's extravagance you prove the gift of giving fair. O Spirit of unfolding grace and deepest mystery, teach us compassion's gentle face and wisdom's mastery. Teach us to cherish this proud earth, its fragile beauty praise, and for the dreams your joy gives birth, a hopeful future raise.
Each time we gather as a congregation, there are always those in our hearts and minds whom we want to wrap in our love and care. We light a candle for them this morning. We also mourn the continued suffering of the Ukrainian people and the North African communities hit by a massive earthquake in Morocco and catastrophic flooding in Libya. Let us share a moment in silence, embracing others who are here in our hearts. You are welcome to say their names, those named aloud, and those remembered in the silence we hold in our community of compassion. We have a special collection today for Transitions, a nonprofit that works to end poverty for women and children in Spokane. It runs Women's Hearth, a downtown drop-in center, Miriam's House, a transitional housing program, operates 15 apartments for homeless women and children while serving them with childcare, oversees 24 permanent home cottages built in 2018, and runs the New Leaf Kitchen and Cafe, which provides job training in the food services industry. If you'd like to contribute, you can use the envelope in your order of service today, or later send a check to the church, mark Transitions, or contribute online.
was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like that river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, and I'm afraid to die. Oh, I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. So I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me. He knocks me down on my knees. Oh, there's been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes, it will.
Thank you so much, Maura and Rashay. At this time, I'd love to invite any children to come down for our Time for All Ages. And while they're making their way down, I will highlight an announcement that's in your bulletin. On Tuesday, September 26th, we are going to have an OWL Information Night. OWL stands for Our Whole Lives, and it is a joint effort between the Unitarian Universalist Association and the United Church of Christ. It's a comprehensive sexuality education program, and it is for young people age 4 all the way up to older adults, which has a minimum age threshold, but no maximum. So if you're curious to learn more about that for yourself, for your children, for your grandchildren, your neighbors and friends, please check out that announcement in the Sun, and you can let me know if you have any questions. All right, so our story today was written by Christopher Buis. Once upon a time, there was a drop of water named Higgins. Higgins was no ordinary drop of water. He was a drop with a dream. Higgins lived in a valley where it had not rained in a very long time, so all the lovely green grass was turning brown, all the beautiful flowers were wilting, and all the trees were starting to droop. Higgins had a dream that one day the valley would be a beautiful place again. But what could he do? After all, he was just one little drop of water. Well, one day, Higgins decided to travel and tell other people about his dream. All the other drops listened very politely, but no one believed that his dream would come true. Higgins, said one drop, get your head out of the clouds. You can't spend your whole life dreaming. Higgins decided that he had to do something to make his dream come true. So he began to think and think and think. And one day, as he was thinking, he walked by a rusty old bucket and he got an idea. If enough of us drops of water got together in this bucket, Higgins thought, there would be enough water to sprinkle on a few flowers and help them grow and become beautiful again. Eagerly, Higgins told everyone about his great idea, but everyone thought he was being a fool. That Higgins was nothing but a dreamer, they said. Higgins decided he had to do something to convince others of his plan. So he said to them, I don't know about you, but I am getting into the bucket. I hope some of you will join me. Then there might be enough water to help at least some of the flowers grow beautiful again. So Higgins ran as hard as he could, hopped way up in the air, and landed with a kerplunk in the bottom of the bucket. And there he sat, just a drop in the bucket. And for a long time, Higgins was very lonely. It seemed like no one else was going to join him. But after a while, some of the other drops could see the grass was dying, and the flowers were wilting, and the trees were drooping, and they all agreed something must be done. Suddenly, one drop shouted, "I'm going in the bucket with Higgins!" And he leaped through the air and landed, kerplunk, in the bucket. Then 2 other drops yelled, "Wait for us!" And they hopped through the air and landed in the bucket. Then 10 drops jumped into the bucket, then 30, and then 50. And then hundreds of drops came from all around to jump in the bucket. Well, the bucket got full. But there were still more drops that wanted to join, so they found another bucket and hopped in that. Before long, there were 2 buckets of water, and then 3, and then 4. Can we count all the way up to 1,000? We're going to skip 1,000 buckets of water. And along came a powerful breeze that blew over all the buckets, and all the water flowed together to form a mighty stream. And everywhere the water flowed, the grass turned green again, and the flowers bloomed, and the trees stood tall and straight once more. And all this happened because Higgins had a dream, and his dream came true. Because he knew that although he was just a drop in the bucket, enough drops in the bucket make a bucket full. And when there are enough buckets with the wind behind them, then justice will roll down like waters and peace like a mighty stream. And now please join me in singing our children to Children's Chapel.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
As we prepare for meditation, I invite you to relax, breathe deeply, and reflect on these words by Saul Alinsky. When the young talk of values, they are asking for a reason. They are searching for an answer, at least for a time, to man's greatest questions. Why am I here?
Party girls, don't get hurt, can't feel anything. When will I learn? I push it down, push it down. I'm the one for a good time call, phone's blowing up, ringing my doorbell. I feel the love, feel the love. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. Throw 'em back till I lose count. I'm gonna swing from the chandelier, from the chandelier. I'm gonna live like tomorrow doesn't exist, like it doesn't exist. the chandelier, from the chandelier. On for dear life, won't look down, won't open my eyes, keep my glass full until morning light, 'cause I'm just holding on for tonight. Help me, I'm holding on for dear life. Won't look down, won't open my eyes, keep my glass full until morning light, 'cause I'm just holding on for tonight, on for tonight. Sun is up, I'm a mess, I gotta get out now, gotta run from this. Here comes the shame, here comes the shame. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. Throw 'em back till I lose count. I'm gonna swing from the chandelier, from the chandelier. I'm gonna live like tomorrow doesn't exist, like it doesn't exist. I'm gonna fly like a bird through the night, fill my tears as they dry. I'm gonna swing from the chandelier, from the chandelier. On for dear life, won't look down, won't open my eyes, keep my glass full until morning light, 'cause I'm just holding on for tonight. Help me, I'm holding on for tonight. Won't look down, won't open my eyes, keep my glass full until morning light, 'cause I'm just holding on for tonight, on for tonight, on for tonight. Yeah, I'm just holding on for tonight. Oh, I'm just holding on for tonight, on for tonight, on for tonight.
Wow. Thank you, Rashay. Good morning. Thank you for inviting us to be part of the service today. My name is Laurel Fish. I'm the senior organizer for the Spokane Alliance. We are a broad-based coalition of over 35 faith congregations, including UUCS, labor unions, and nonprofits working together for the common good. I have been the Alliance organizer for about a year now, walking in the footsteps of some incredible leaders and organizers who helped build this organization, including many Unitarian Universalists. I grew up in Spokane and moved back here about 3 years ago. And it was not an easy decision to take a new job when I was 5 months pregnant with my second child. But one of the things that brought me here and that I love about the Alliance is the way that our own humanity is central to the work that we do. We don't take on issues because a think tank or an opinion poll says that it's the right thing to do. We choose our issues because they are pressures that are deeply felt for our leaders, our families, within our institutions. In fact, the first big action that I was a part of was in this building about a year and a half ago around childcare stabilization. And at the time, I was leaving my 2-year-old son at a daycare where I would drop him off and there would be one teacher and 17 infants and toddlers. I was angry that I had to leave my son in that situation. And I was angry that the childcare center was so understaffed that that was their best option. So being involved with the childcare team was a way to actually look for solutions rather than just looking for who to blame. And I've been thinking a lot in this work. We think a lot about why our families are under so much stress. One of the people that I've been reading lately is Marilyn Robinson. And in one of her essays, she talks about the way that family as we know it, both biological families and families of choice and affinity, have been willed and reformed into existence. During the 20th century, reforms like child labor laws or the idea of a minimum wage were public statements, whether we always lived up to them or not, they were public statements that families deserved political and economic protection, that we were worth protecting. But the norms and customs that have allowed for family life are being slowly eroded. It's normal now to need 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet, or to work the graveyard shift and never see your kids. In Spokane, over a third of households are working but can't afford the basic necessities of housing, food, childcare, healthcare or transportation. I think about a woman that I worked with who worked the evening shift, and her husband was working too. The only form of childcare that she could afford for her elementary school age boys was to put up security cameras inside her house and watch them on her phone as she was at work. That's what we mean when we say families are under pressure. The line that really sticks with me from Robinson's essay is when she asks about our commitments to each other. The real issue, she says, is whether people will shelter and nourish and humanize each other. It's creative work, she says, requiring discipline and imagination. And we're here because we believe that our institutions, like churches and unions, are critical to how we take responsibility for sheltering and nourishing and humanizing each other. Being part of the Spokane Alliance means understanding that the pressures affecting families impact our institutions' ability to carry out their mission, but likewise that our institutions have a responsibility to work towards conditions where families can thrive. To say it another way, families who are working 2 or 3 jobs may not have the time or ability to be part of a faith community, and our congregations should be thinking about and asking what it is that's leading families to being in such crisis. This is a mutual responsibility that happens when we are in relationship with one another, where we're listening to what's happening to people within our congregations and across a broad base of institutions. So today, I'm really here to introduce some of the people that are making the work of the Spokane Alliance happen. I wanted you to hear from leaders within our organization about what's going on in their lives and what we're doing as a coalition to address these pressures. And we're also going to have time for you all to hear from each other about what's going on in your lives. So Alex, I'm going to invite you up. Alex has been a leader in the Housing Equity Action Research Team in West Central, and she's going to share about what's going on in her life.
Thank you. My name is Alex Franz, and I'm a resident of West Central. I've lived in 8 different places within the neighborhood for the majority of the last decade, fighting to stay here through it all. I worked the front lines of the neighborhood's community center during the pandemic before my current position at Our Place, the second largest food bank in the county, where I witnessed families facing housing insecurity daily. When I decided to leave my position at the community center, my primary drive to stay employed in West Central was so I could still work with the same families and neighbors. This job encompassed getting to know all of my neighbors, including those camping on the riverbanks. I knew that if I didn't find a way to stay here, I'd be one more lost connection in their already barren support network. In 2019, I was working at the West Central Community Center during the day, going to school at night, and leasing a home with my partner who had an additional income. Deciding to leave that partner and his alcoholism, a detriment to our family, my children ages 2 and 5 at the time, led to our longest bout of homelessness, but not our only bout. Though I had a month to search for a place before leaving, immediate housing security was virtually impossible. I have experienced everything from couch surfing with kids to renting from slumlords, resulting in bedbug trauma I still carry, carbon dioxide poisoning of my infant, and finally leading to my family's most recent displacement last fall, a house fire that took most of our rental home due to faulty electrical that was not up to code. My stories are not unlike my neighbors. Last month, a family of 3 from the neighborhood decided to come volunteer at our place. Less than 2 weeks after they started, one of them lost employment right after they took on 2 foster babies, infants. Immediately, they flipped from having the capacity to volunteer to needing more services. This switch can happen in an instant. I know all too well the single sudden change in one's life whose ripples unpredictably shake everything. Finding one's roots again is far from easy, no matter the circumstances one starts with. These experiences fighting for myself and others to stay in West Central make it especially hard to see vacant property sitting unused in our neighborhood. One of the solutions that we've been working on through the Spokane Alliance Housing Equity Action Research Team is asking local public officials to repurpose surplus public land so that it can be developed as dignified, affordable housing. One example of a potential lot is the county-owned property at Maxwell and Maple, a contaminated blight on the block sitting vacant for years. It is waiting for our county leaders to choose to act. The money for cleanup is already there, as is the state law allowing it to be donated for housing. So, as a parent and a neighbor, I can no longer stand by without urging those leaders to act. After my own family's housing insecurity and every day on the clock listening to other stories, the belief that I can and must organize is fueled evermore. I've been on both sides of the table, still am, the person helping and the person facing these community pressures. Until we can all be on the same side of the table together, we have work to do yet. Until my neighbor has the security they need, I don't have it either. Thank you.
Sheldon. So Sheldon's a member of the Carpenters, Local 59, which is one of the newest member organizations of the Spokane Alliance, and is going to talk about the jobs team.
Good morning. Hello, my name is Sheldon Bennett. I'm a 35-year member of the United Brotherhood of Carpenters, and I'm a member of Carpenters Local Union 59 here in Spokane. Together through the Spokane Alliance job team, my union, and others, we are working on a city ordinance that would ensure that our public dollars are being invested in jobs that will create public benefits, like family medical insurance, multi-employer retirement that works for the construction industry, and good safety records. One of the reasons I care about this ordinance is because I've heard from so many members talk about how fly-by-night contractors affect our whole community. I'd like to share a story of our newest member, Donald Morrison, who became a union member just a few months ago, and he gave me permission to share his story. Don worked non-union construction for 18 years, which means for the first 18 years of his career, he had no retirement contributions at all. His plan was to work until he couldn't physically work any longer. The only health insurance he had was L&I if he got hurt on the job, or state insurance. This is dangerous work. A single concrete form panel can weigh up to 22,000 pounds. On the last job Don worked, an employee had walked out of a man lift and fell 14 feet through a false deck, breaking 2 vertebrae in his sternum. A lot has changed in Don's life over the last year. In 2021, he was facing prison time and spent 4 months homeless, living at Family Promise Shelter with his 4-year-old daughter. He got out of prison in December of 2022 and started working on the North-South Freeway corridor while still wearing an ankle bracelet. This June, Don asked his pastor how he would know when it was time to leave a job and look for something else. The pastor said it would be undeniable. That same week, Don got hired by a union construction firm on another part of the North-South Freeway, just across from the road from his previous job. Now, when his job ends and he has to look for another one, his pension will follow him so he can retire before his body gives out. He was diagnosed with skin cancer from working so many hours in the sun. But now he qualifies for medical insurance, so he doesn't have to worry about the cost of treatment. His new company goes the extra mile with safety. For example, when they invested in catwalks and retrieval systems for when employees are pouring the cement columns, they can get out quickly if something goes wrong. After getting out of prison, Don got his 4-year-old daughter back and is working to get former incarcerated people into the industry. As for myself, lately I've been going to a lot of meetings with city council members and ask that they invest in jobs that provide broad benefits for the whole community. It's not whether jobs are union or not. It's about where the people can imagine the future for themselves and their families. I'm so proud that Don was able to do that through our union, and I want to see what the future holds for him. Thank you.
And then Mary Rupert's a member of our Truth and Transformation team. Come on up, Mary.
Good morning. I'm Mary Rupert. I'm a member of Westminster United Church of Christ and a member of the Spokane Alliance Truth and Transformation team. This team formed about 2 years ago with the goal of bringing the Alliance into partnership with local indigenous organizations in order to work together on issues of importance to us all from a place of right relations. Being in right relationship with diverse groups starts with understanding our own histories. My maternal great-great-grandfather was a doctor who immigrated to Canada from Scotland in the mid-1800s. Dr. Hutchison was assigned by the government to be a physician in the nearby First Nations reservation called at that time Rice Lake Village. The only record we have of that relationship is a paragraph in the diary of his nephew. That nephew became a famous Canadian, and thus his diary has been published. He was Sir Sanford Fleming, an inventor and engineer who came up with the idea of time zones. Sanford Fleming was just a boy of 18 and fresh from Scotland when he accompanied Dr. Hutchison to Rice Lake Village. His diary entry is painful for me to read, but here goes. The Indians are very dark and languid-like people, having no energy nor skill about them except for baskets and trifles of that kind which they ornament very tastefully. Government is very kind to them, having built good houses, cleared land for them which they now almost neglect, and gives them clothing and money every year, a doctor to attend and give them medicine, and a schoolhouse, but notwithstanding all that, they are idle, and hence miserable in the wintertime. They are dying away every year, and it is supposed the race will soon be extinct. This diary entry really brings it all home for me. These are the sentiments of my own ancestor, my first cousin thrice removed. And as such a young person and newcomer, they could only be reflecting the attitudes of my own great-great-grandfather and the society all around them. There is no sensibility at all in these settlers that they had taken the land and the lifeways of the people who had thrived on this continent since time immemorial. In seeing this so clearly, I feel a responsibility for understanding the ongoing impacts of these attitudes and working to make right the relationships. The Rice Lake tribe did not die out. They are now called the Michi-Sagi of Hiawatha First Nation. The indigenous people of this continent have been resilient against all odds. I am happy to be a member of the Spokane Alliance Truth and Transformation team, building relationships with local indigenous groups to work together for the common good. We believe that in order to do this in good faith, our own Alliance institutions must come into a deeper awareness of the harms and long-range effects of colonization and ongoing racism. To that end, the team is bringing to Spokane this November a training called Wrestling with the Truth of Colonization, which is being offered to all our member institutions, including you. It is a training that will compel you to move from your head to your heart. This training lays the groundwork for the Spokane Alliance to retell foundational institutional stories in order to build trusting relationships with Indigenous partners so that we can move into the future more united, diverse, and honest.
So thank you, Alex and Sheldon and Mary, for modeling, the way that our experiences and our work starts with individual stories and experiences. And we would like to invite you into this conversation. One of the things that we believe in the Spokane Alliance is a culture of relational meetings, right? Getting to know each other. It's been one of the joys of moving back to Spokane after some time away. Is there lots of people that I thought I knew that I really knew nothing about, right? I had known them since I was teeny tiny and knew very little about what was going on in their lives right now. So we're going to take 5 minutes to turn, well, I see people might be sitting next to someone they know very well. So to find someone that you don't know as well, turn to a neighbor and share about a social or economic pressure in your life right now, or one that you're seeing in the community. So find someone maybe that you aren't sitting next to, and talk about a social or economic pressure in your life right now, or that you're seeing in the community. And we'll bring you back together in 5 minutes. Okay, we're gonna come back together now. Thanks for being willing to do something a little bit different during the service today. And I hope you learned something new about the person sitting next to you. And I would encourage you to continue the conversation afterwards. So as Marilyn Robinson says, taking responsibility for each other requires discipline and imagination. And we believe that the power to act on injustice starts by getting to know each other, followed by acting together. So I appreciate the time. Okay, our time is up, says my phone. Yeah, I appreciate the time that you all took to hear from us, to hear from each other. If you're interested in your order of service, there's a blue page where you'll find a commitment card with an invitation to be involved in building our capacity for change. And thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you so much, Laurel. Thank you, Karen. Thank you to Rashay Thomas for singing today. And we're going to sing again together. Please stand and join me for We'll Build a Land, number 121 in your hymnal.
We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves our mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land can be. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by love, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by love, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land, building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from old, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by love, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come, build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come, build the land, my people we seek. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by love, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
Many of you remember our late member, Mickey Thompson, and Mickey thought that song should be the anthem of the Spokane Alliance, which is one reason we chose it today. And as we depart today, I leave you with the words of the late civil rights leader, John Lewis. If you see something that is not right, not fair, not just. You have a moral obligation to do something about it. Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom.
Shalom havarim, shalom havarim, shalom.